Hi, this is second tutorial of editing skin. So if you haven't done it already, do part 1 and really master that technique. It's a simple technique. And then like what we've done here, kind of very simple, is quick and efficient. Now we're going to go into more advanced techniques. So I'm just going to cancel the entire thing. So start from the beginning. So open your image, and then I always duplicate this and image as image. So that's your base image. So you can say image base. And the reason why you want to do this for workflow is just because it's gonna get very complicated. Okay, if you don't do that. So I'm gonna go Control or Command J to duplicate, or you can just drag it down here on the plus sign if you want. Okay, so Command J for Mac, Control J for Windows. I'm gonna name the top, so double click here. I'm gonna say hi, and then here I'm gonna say low. Okay. So as a workflow, when we open an image, we see what needs to be edited to have, so always remove items first. Address anything you need to remove first, and then we deal with all the global issues later. Okay, so our global editing later. So now we're removing. So we're going to do frequency separation. So we copy 2 images. We name one high and one low. Okay, so now we're gonna hide that high up here, and then now we're gonna create a different, so basically frequency separation allows you to separate the texture from the color, so it gives more precise control over fixing skin blemishes or irregularities without affecting the overall skin tone. That's why we have a high frequency and a low frequency. Okay, now that we duplicated the high and low, right, we're going to turn off the high, the icon eye here. If you click on it, it just kind of makes it disappear. So it doesn't delete, but it just hide that layer for now. It gets quite confusing if you have everything on. Okay, so now we're going to deal with the low frequency. So we're going to go to filter up here in the menu, and then we are going to blur this and Gaussian blur. Okay, Gaussian blur is going to be your best friend. Okay, just the blur radius so that you can no longer see fine details. So first thing is I want to do the magnet here so I can actually see the face. Okay, so we're going to adjust this. Let's bring it back to 0 just for argument's sake. And then we're going to adjust slowly pan until, so we don't want to overdo Gaussian blur. So we're going to adjust this till we start to see the blemishes. And usually that's between 6 to 10. It really depends on your image. So I want to make sure you still see things. So let's go to 10 here. So you want to adjust it so you don't see the details like pores or hair. But the image should retain the basic shapes and tones, but lose texture. Okay, so I don't see any more texture. Want to blur any, so if there's any facial hair, you want to make sure you don't see that as well. Let's see if we can go higher. Oh, that's too exaggerated. So you don't want to go overboard in this process, otherwise it becomes a headache later on. Okay, let's click OK. Now we have that done. We're going to now do high frequency. Click on the icon so we can see it again. Make sure we can see that as well. We're going to go to image up here in the menu. And we're going to apply image right here. Okay. So image, apply image. Now what we want to do is we want to see the source. So your source image that you want to subtract from. So you want to subtract low. One here, you want to make sure subtract. So subtract is all the way. Second bottom group here, 100% opacity. Scale is 2 and offset is 128 for a 8-bit image. Okay, so for a 16-bit image, you want scale to 2, offset is 0. Okay, so after you've done that, and the image should look like this. Okay, if it doesn't, then there's something wrong with your setting here. So making sure your setting looks like this here. We click OK. Now we're going to change the blending mode of the high frequency layer. Okay, we're going to come up here and we can go to linear. Where's there? Linear line. So really, it should look like the image below, so nothing's changed. Okay, now we can start retouching. Okay, so the low frequency is tone and color, and the high frequency is texture. Okay, so we're gonna come over here. Okay, so we're gonna do use a lasso tool if you want, and then just circle the area that you want to, like this one here. You know what, I also like to do it above. Let's see, let's do it directly actually. So I'm gonna select this area, and then I'm gonna go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, so you want to make sure in your Gaussian blur, you want to make sure it's smooth. You can't see like this, right? So zoom here. You want to make sure I can't. That is pretty much there. There you go. That looks better. Okay, so deselect, Command or Control D to deselect. Let's look at different area here. So again, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Although you can repeat it, I suggest you do it isolation, so it's very precise to just that area. So right here, just want to make sure it looks smooth, right? Okay, okay, deselect. Again, blur, Gaussian blur, deselect. So we're just dealing with tones here right now. We're not dealing with texture. Okay, so you see the tones starting to look wonky. Okay, we'll deal with that a little bit later. So now that you've done it, we're gonna do, well, I don't know, maybe I should do one more. Let me grab the whole thing. Blur, Gaussian blur. There, that looks better. So I want to see. Back that up. No, back that up a little bit. Okay. And deselect. So there's still some issues, I think, but let's stop here. You get the point. Okay, so you want to make sure you blend the skin colors slowly. See over here, we can continue blending it just because I see a little mark here. Okay, but we'll just stop here for now. Now we're going to use the high frequency for texture. So any texture that's very obvious that you want to get rid of, we can do it here. So we're going to use a clone stamp right here, or you can use a healing brush. So let's do a healing brush first. So option or Alt to target. So I want to get rid of that there. Hey, wrong. Let me see, what did I do wrong? Let's clone stamp. So we are on the high frequency layer. Everything looks fine. And then now we're gonna go and do fine tuning with a clone stamp. Yeah, that's right. So let's clone. Okay. There's a texture here that I want to get rid of, so I'm going to sample that. Get rid of that. So opacity is 50, but we can make this higher. Let's do 100. And clone stamp. So again, so frequency, the high one is texture, right? And the low is tone. So, and the reason why we want to separate that is when you want to smoothen the skin without affecting the skin texture. Okay, just say we like it here. You can continue doing this a little bit more, but just say that that's fine. You can play with opacity, whether you felt that was too strong or whatnot, and the opacity of the clone itself here. Okay, so if you're happy with this, then what I would do is click on the 2 layers, hold shift to make sure you select the 2 layer, group it, and then we're going to call it skin retouch. Okay, so skin retouch, that should go on the, in terms of workflow wise, that should go that should go right over your original image. Okay, and then now we can do global editing right here, global editing, and then to say I want to do a curves, I'm going to do, not that this one needs it because I think it's fine, but just for argument's sake, I want to make a contrast. Remember how if you want to make something more of a contrast, we create this S curve in the curves area. Okay, so that would be an example where you first remove and then you do local and then you do global last. Okay, so right now we don't really have any global editing for this image. Okay, but for workflow, you do skin removing, retouching, and then you can do local editing, such as color balance on targeted area, and then lastly would be an overall global editing, such as contrast or whatever it is that affects the entire image. Okay, so that's a little bit about workflow, but also skin retouching for work.